Hello, welcome to Kabbalah26.net. In this very quick video, I want to outline why we started this site and what we want to accomplish through it. It's really a site that outlines our personal journey through trying to apply the teachings of Kabbalah and Chassidus in our lives as we're trying to attain or reach this level that's called Gemara Tikkun, or the end of rectification. It's kind of a coming of age, a spiritual coming of age. The reason is that we're holding at the threshold of the Geula Mitzvah Shlema. It's such a big word. It came to mean so many things, and most of the stuff you see on the internet regarding the subject is really, really, really stupid. We are so close and yet we're so far away. The reason is that bringing on this redemption is a very practical thing that involves looking into our own lives, into the dark areas of our own lives, and improving them and changing ourselves. It's far from being meditation for hippies. It's a lot of hard work, and the only way to really do this is through the powers that are included in the mystical works of Kabbalah, which were concealed for decades, for centuries, millennia, and are being revealed so openly in our generation. Of course, the reason they're revealed so openly in our generation is because we need it, and we are the generation that was destined from the beginning of creation to actually apply these principles, not just to attain an experience of angels and spiritual worlds and things like that, but rather to reveal godliness into this world, this physical world of time and place, and to reveal the infinite dimension within the finite dimension in life, which means to go after our problems in lives and our constrictions and our limitations, and apply these different attitudes, these different approaches as they're manifested in our thoughts, speech, and actions in this world. And all of a sudden we're revealing the mystical dimension that's not bounded by time and space. Well, the time is now. The Zohar went through a 12.5-year timeline for the redemption in the 6th millennium. It doesn't say what century. It's pretty obvious that it's our century. It culminates in the year 73. Much more on this is on my blog on ronnierendel.com. Specifically that article where I talk about the year 5770, the year we're currently in. This process culminates in 5773, and there's a lot of mystical writings that I'm not going to go into over here, but they really apply to our life today. But they're not in a way of grand wars or things that people predict. All these great wars are really happening inside of us. Now, why do we even care about this timeline and saying that the end of days is now and all this stuff? Obviously, it brings to repentance, but it's not a repentance out of fear, as many people would have you say. It's a repentance that comes through changing. Tshuva in Hebrew means to return, it means to change yourselves. It means to take this teachings, the Torah, the godly wisdom that was given to us, and to apply it in our lives. This is something that was revealed through to the greatest sages of previous generations. Only a few, it's called in Hebrew Yechidei Skula, very, very special tzaddikim in each generation, like Rabbi Shimon Yochai and the Rambam, the Ramban, the Vilna Gaon, the Alter Rebbe, and the Rebbe. These are very, very special tzaddikim in each generation that were actually allowed to see beyond the limitations of time and space, that were beyond this exile mentality of the rest of the generation. Well, thanks to their work and through the path that they laid for us, this is now the portion of each and every one of us. This year started a rectification, Kabbalistically speaking, of Hod Shebehod. Again, I go into this in much more detail. It's just another sign that starting this year, we started a new level cosmically. The cosmic timeline has entered a new dimension. It's a new dimension that is associated exactly with Lag BaOmer, which is a time of the revelation of the esoteric aspects of the Torah, and it's also a time of coming to certain ego nullification. So cosmically, everything is aligned. The stars are aligned, so to speak, and we're holding right where we're supposed to be for redemption. This is only used here as proof, example, motivation that this is truly the time for us to mature. By doing this, and by doing this, I mean by learning Kabbalah and applying it in our life, we will be completing this rectification of godly sparks that fell and give life to the husks that conceal godliness. This is Kabbalistically speaking. I mean, we're going to explain this in more detail later, but the main concept here is that godly life force at the time of exile, past 2,000 years, and really since the sin of the tree of knowledge, have become garbed in coarse physicality, the limitations of time and space. And they're giving life to a reality of good and evil, hence tree of knowledge, good and evil, in which case good and evil gets intermixed in this world. That manifests itself in our lives, and sometimes if you want to do the right thing, you don't know what the right thing is. Life really is a collection of decisions that have to be made, and you don't know what's right or what's wrong. You have your ego, your insecurities, certain things that affect how you think and make the right decision obscure. It's not clear what you should do. There's lies and truth intermixed in everything, and our job is to sift through it. This is kind of sifting the sparks and finding truth and elevating truth. In a global sense, this is the truth of knowledge of God. In a personal life is the truth of how we should live, how we should choose, what choices we should make to go back to being aligned properly and then seeing everything fit into our life, really breaking through the chaos in our life. We will do this through the two main books of Kabbalah, the Chaim of the Arizal, the Zohar Kadosh and the Rashbi. The Zohar, learning of the Zohar is really more bringing in powerful lights that work beyond our understanding, and they rectify our soul and help us reveal our soul. The Etz Chaim is really a very detailed outline of the Seder Ishtalshus, of the order of progression of levels from total nothingness into this physical world in existence. In many, many details, it's considered a very technical book, but we will use the books of Chassidus, from the Tanya, the Imrei Bina, the Shari Yichud, Torah Or, and the Likutei Torah, to relate to these spiritual, Kabbalistic processes that they're outlined in Etz Chaim, and be able to unguard them from this language of Kabbalah, to be able to attain some sort of appreciation for what they're alluding to, for the spiritual ideas that they're alluding to. And the spiritual ideas they're alluding to is godliness. By doing that, first of all, we affect a certain rectification on the subconscious level and the soul level, but also this gives us very, very real paths to meditation that is going to be the fuel, so to speak, for our self-transformation. Then the final thing, even though it's really the first thing, and it's the gateway for everything else, is the writings of Lubavitcher Rebbe, where he took the entire body of Kabbalah and Chassidus and everything that was made available to us by all the sages, and gives it to us in a way that is applicable to our generation, and the way that we should use to be able to go after specifically the most difficult things in our lives, to be successful, and to go into our constrictions and our limitations and reveal Bligvul, the limitless bounty in these limitations, which brings to not just the rectification of a personal life, but when each one of us does this successfully, we shatter husks that conceal godliness in the world, we reveal godly light in the world, and that is actually how we bring about the Geulah Mitzvah Shlema.